According to Saudi press agency, the state-owned Saudi press agency, Richard, the Saudi bloc did get Qatar's response, and they are to reply at, quote, the right time. Where does this leave the GCC?
It leaves the GCC in a real old mess. This is a much harder kind of geopolitical drama to understand than North Korea. You know, North Korea faces, in its view, an existential threat to its existence. Its nuclear program is the one thing that it believes keeps it safe. What's going on between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, much harder to understand. Both Saudi monarchies, both wealthy countries, both Sunni monarchies, both wealthy countries, both with similar shaped economies, but have, for whatever reason, gone off on divergent paths. And Saudi Arabia now, with the support of the UAE, now prosecuting a much more aggressive agenda towards Qatar. And it revolves around allegations of backing of terrorism. They both back different groups in the region. But really, Qatar has tried to carve out for itself a separate, very distinct identity. Both through hosting Al Jazeera, the news agency, taking a much more independent line on issues in the region, and of course of having a much more open relationship with Iran, Saudi Arabia's traditional and intensifying rival in the region. So it's hard to understand really where this is going to end up. One assumes that it will end up in some rather messy, fudged, negotiated temporary settlement, and that this issue will keep on coming back round in various forms in the months and years to come. It's hard to imagine that it's going to end up in some kind of military confrontation between these two states. That's not impossible, but it remains unlikely. But it undermines this sense of these countries being the stable regional hubs where international business can be conducted.
Richard, how much of it is down to Saudi Arabia just thinking that Qatar's got ideas above its station? And on top of that, of course, as you mentioned, an independent foreign policy and closer relationships with Tehran. Now, Qatar doesn't have a lot of choice in that. They share the world's largest natural gas oil field, don't they?
They do. The largest, as you say, the largest gas field is shared between. It sits in the sea, under the sea, between Qatar and Iran, and they effectively share it. Having said that, a lot of the oil fields in the region cross national borders between Iraq and Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. So that in itself is not necessarily unusual. But yeah, Qatar does have a very kind of independent sense of its own identity. Quite why this is so antagonistic to Saudi Arabia is sometimes hard, I think, for outsiders to understand. We've got to remember, of course, that the UAE and Saudi Arabia are involved in a war in Yemen, with Iran backing the other side of that civil war. So it's not as if the region doesn't already have its fair share of kind of immediate military and security issues to deal with, let alone what's going on just up the road in Syria.